Hey yo, it's your boy Weezy MTG and got another drop for y'all today. In continuation of my 32 Commander deck series at $10, we got the Azorius Commander deck for today. And let me tell you, I built something pretty fun, and I would definitely say a lot of you might know this commander and a lot of you might have seen it and put some action to it. But I will say, at $10 range, this commander does something really fun and unique, but also able to become a problem very quickly. And what do we got for today? Well, our commander is Hope, baby. That's right, Hopium on a budget. At $10, making sure we mill the whole table and win. And if you haven't seen the rest of my videos, guys, I highly encourage you to check them out. I did a bunch more of these commander decks, so if you want to see some more budget builds for different colors, I got them for you. I actually built 2 decks, but I'm not going to be posting the second one, unfortunately. That one was Vega the Watcher, which was great, but, you know, I did a Vega the Watcher adventure spell deck, and that was actually pretty fun, but I just felt like it didn't have as much potential as a deck like this. Let's get right to the deck tech and tell you why Hope absolutely puts bell to ass. Hope from Final Fantasy, a legendary 2-drop in Azorius, baby. That's right. Usually a lot of controls in the strategy, and while we're doing mill, so it's got a little bit of control going on. No crazy stacks pieces or anything. We're just making sure that people just mill their decks so they can't play them. One thing that I really like about this deck, it combines life gain and mill. So you have 2 different strategies that are very strong. Well, essentially white life gain and blue mill. So yeah, and the thing is, you don't really have to put many mill cards in, which I really didn't. I just put a lot of life gain and card draw to really benefit, so that when you have Hope in play, the milling happens. Now you'll still gain life and you'll still get your card draw and your other triggers. If Hope isn't in play, you're just not going to get the mill effect, so it might slow the game down a little bit. And I know a lot of people tend to build it as a Voltron strategy. Hope already has lifelink, and if you give her some crazy equipment and swing out, you could do some crazy stuff, but I didn't want to build that today. I did want to actually build a life gain and mill strategy of the deck. So what do we got? Well, let's go right into some of the creatures, baby. I mean, we got Daxos and Melithus, man. This card is really cool. When I play tested it, absolutely got like wiped out pretty damn quick. This card is good because essentially it's going to give us life gain and allow us to steal cards from opponents. So remember, we're in a $10 deck. If we're stealing stuff from other players with their $50 to, you know, $5,000 decks, then, you know, we're getting really nice cards. Imagine stealing someone's, you know, One Ring or their Ristic Study. Dude, great card. And honestly, I almost built this as a commander, but I just didn't have enough synergies to really pop it off. Like, come on, that's something that black does. Come on, we white and blue can't do that. Black does it good though. We got them Soul Sister-like effects. No actual Soul Sisters in the deck because they've gotten expensive, but the Soul Sister similar effects, not exactly the best because they only care about your creatures entering, which is still fine because we want life gain on our turn as much as possible so we can get the benefits of Hope. We got a few of these cards in here. Just going to gain you some life on things ETBing, which is great. We got something like Angel of Vitality also in the deck where we're able to gain extra life off of that, you know, single life gain that we get. So that 1 life ETB turns into 2 and so on and so forth. I mean, that makes Hope already hit for essentially giving us 3 life. So that's pretty solid. Now, one really old card that I found, which is really cool in this deck, is Drogskol Reaver. This is great because whenever you gain life, you're drawing a card. We're getting benefits off of our life gain, and it also has double strike, so it's a relatively strong body. 7 mana is a little expensive, ain't gonna lie, but it's a cool card and it's here. Also, guys, remember when I always talk about synergy at $10 decks, you have to find ways to make synergy work. And yeah, we got synergy here. You gain life, you put counters on creatures. You gain life, you make creature tokens from it. We need to find ways to get benefits off of our life gain, because if we don't, then we're gonna be kind of behind. Right, you can make it gain as much life as you want, but if nothing happens from it, then the deck doesn't do anything. This one was probably one of my favorites. This thing is expensive as hell, but you saddle this bad boy, you put counters on your creature and gain a bunch of life. This can get really nasty later in game. Well, it's essentially a board buff. I like it. Instants and sorcerers are gonna do a few things, right? They're either gonna remove things, reanimate things, draw cards, or gain life. I'm not going to go too crazy in instants and sorceries, but I'll show a few really quick. Bond of Discipline. I didn't get to play this in my playtest. This is an addition I made after. The reason being is because I'm like, damn, I forgot this card's 20 cents. But this is a great card because you give your whole board lifelink and tap everyone's creatures, allowing you to swing out, get a crap ton of life gain, and this could really go nasty. It could go insane, dude. I'm telling you. You get some of those creatures that get those synergies from getting life and put counters on it. Eventually, you have a huge board state. You can swing wide, gain a bunch of life, make everybody mill a bunch of cards, rinse and repeat, make everyone miserable. For instance, I mean, it's a lot of protection, a lot of stuff to help protect Hope because she's be targeted, as well as, you know, some simple removal, cheap removal. Something I noticed when getting my ass beat by Galta is that I didn't really have any specific targeted removal or ways to deal with, you know, Voltron commanders or really just large threats. Example of this card, having more cards that, you know, focus people on removing specific creatures or making player sacrifice is a really easy and cheap way to remove things in white. So I was able to put a few of these cards in there. Plus, this also has life gain and some other stuff on it. Entwine, baby. That's a gift to be given. We got to take advantage of having more abilities on a budget, man. Remember that. Oh, let's get to those artifacts, dude. Colossal Plow makes it in the deck. Ramp, life gain, and it's a big ass plow, dude. Imagine plowing other enemies off the board. This is what it's gonna do. Even if it just attacks, it gets those benefits. So, you know, you keep those manas, you get the life. I love this card so much. It gives you exactly 3 mana, enough to protect it if something happens to it in the combat. So keep that in mind. Paradise Plume in the deck, guess what? It gains life when you cast a colored spell, and it also gives you mana. Speaking of which, I got the 2 stabs. Dude, stabs are great because it allows you to gain life from playing lands and casting spells. It's something that's a little slow, but later in game will really benefit from you doing just everything else. I mean, you're gonna gain a bunch of life from it, so more life gain, the better. We need an engine going to get hope cooking. Field Tested Frying Pan is one of my favorite cards ever in Magic, actually, because when I had the Hobbit deck that this was in back from Lord of the Rings, I remember this thing would actually just one-shot people because of the ability, being able to gain a bunch of life and just swing out with like a 30-30 on combat. So Field Tested Frying Pan, definitely don't overlook this card. Find ways to gain a bunch of life in your first main phase and then just beat the living hell out of somebody. Like, show them like no mercy, like absolute pummel them. Dude, you're taking a frying pan and beating them down. So, oh, this one's gonna be funny. Remember when we're milling? We need to take advantage of milling, right? So we got this Goyf Artifact Tribal card in the deck. Yeah, you know why? Because when something attacks alone, it gets a benefit, it gets a buff from all the cards in everyone's graveyard. So I think it's for card types. So still, there's a good chance you get 5 card types in there, and then you can swing out Give Hope +5/+5. That's 7 damage, that's 7 commander damage, that's 7 life gain, that's 7 more cards being milled. Dude, you can't complain with a card like this, and it's super duper cheap because Goyfs are ass. No, I'm just kidding, they're not bad. They're actually pretty cool. I definitely want to build a deck for them. Now, there's quite a few enchantments. I'm not gonna go through all of them. You know, Dawn of Hope's definitely in the deck. It is a very cheap, budget-friendly card. Allows us to draw cards when we got nothing else going on. You know, just gain some life, draw a card, create a token. I mean, it's honestly a solid card in a budget deck, so don't overlook this one. Praying Sanity makes it in the deck. It's one of the more expensive cards in this deck because it does milling, and you know, more mill the better, baby. This is a sad card to have put on you, but you know what? Target the problem player, even though it's probably going to be you, and hit him with this. And obviously Griffin Airy, really good. Start making some tokens on your end step. That's a solid way to do it. I actually forgot to mention we got Spider-Man UK in here just like that, so we can get card draw and more life gain, very similar to the Griffin Airy thing. And now I had to talk to you really quick about this really cool fucking combo in the deck I kind of came up with a little bit. It's not a cheap combo by any means in terms of the mana cost, so don't expect to constantly pop this off, but it can definitely be built up over time in early stage, and then like mid to late game you could definitely pop it off. So let's see what this combo involves. First things first, we have something called Dream Trawler in play. Now, Dream Trawler is really cool because as an ability, allows us to discard, tap it, give it hexproof. Great. Allows us to discard at instant speed, also gives us card draw, attack, and lifelink shit. Dude, this is a great card, honestly. Pair that with Confessor, dude. Confessor's a cool card. It says whenever a player discards a card, we gain 1 life. Now, that goes for any player, which is great, but we want to discard cards. Remember with Dream Trawler where we could discard a card? Well, now you pair with this, now every time you discard a card, you're gonna gain a life. Now we got something cooking, right? Now we add in the last but not least, Maria Vendrell's Grimoire. Where the fuck? That's a mouthful. This card, you already know what's going on here. Anytime you gain life, you draw a card. You draw that many cards. You don't want to have 0 cards in hand, obviously, but make sure you at least have 2 cards in hand, 3 cards in hand. The idea with this is you're able to discard a card, gain a life, draw a card from the artifact, and you gain that life back. You're essentially just going to gain a shit ton of life. Like, you're going to just gain, you know, you discard, you can essentially go through most of your library and mill each player out. That's the whole idea, right? You gain, you know, 60 life on your turn. Everyone's going to mill 60 cards. The game's pretty much over at that point. Like, come on, like, that sucks to deal with. Like, you don't want to deal with that, but hey, that's how it works. And it's a really cool way to do it. And it's good at instant speed. And now you can't lose the game for having 0 less life. That's great. You pair that with Angel of Vitality, that's double life gain. Forget it, dude. It's game over. There's nothing else anyone can do. That's double life. So you don't have to go through your whole entire library, and you'll draw 2 cards, and now you'll be able to get essentially whatever card you want. I think it's a really cool combo that I found in a deck that could you just eat up your whole entire library and make everybody else mill. Really cool way to do it. When in doubt, you just have Evra in the deck as well. Evra's in the deck, which is really cool. You know, switch life totals, gain like 50 something life, assuming you're at around 50 life because you're playing a life gain deck. Swing out, she has lifelink, gain that life back, everybody mills that many cards, it's over. This is another great card to help close out the game. Now, let's move on to the land base. What do we got? Basics, baby. That's right. I could not for the life of me get any other cards in here because we're sitting at a really fine line at $10.96 currently as the day of recording, and you know, building the deck. $10.96 TCG price on Moxfield. So just keeping that in mind. If anyone's using any other programs to buy it, you know, if you use Card Market or anything else, just note the price will be different. And as well with TCG, there's shipping prices too. It's $10 deck through and through. Like if you have the bulk or you go to a store and get all the cards for it, is essentially gonna be $10. But when it comes to the shipping costs, you just gotta really optimize your cart. Best way to do it is when you're buying another deck for some, you know, some other YouTuber you're watching, you know, add this onto it for another $10, and then the shipping cost will be, you know, mixed in with the other cards, so you don't have to pay nearly as much in shipping. You know, do like a big bulk order is what I'm trying to say. Essentially a Costco order is what I'm trying to get at. You know what I'm saying? Just buy like, you know, 7,000 cards, you're chilling. Now I'm going on some really quick upgrades. I'm gonna make this section quick because I spent a lot of time talking in the video. What I would really like you guys to know, if you want to upgrade the deck, go into some double mill cards, extra milling cards, cards that just do extra just benefits from milling, as well as a bit more card draw from your life gain. There's a lot cheaper cards that do life gain, so look into those. Will Sign of Peace would be really cool in the deck. I'd go ahead and set it. I'd be the dickhead to put Altar of the Brood in the deck. I'm not gonna lie, it'd be so fun. I mean, dude, you just put things out, making people mill twice as much. I mean, come on, that's really fun. It's really fun for you, not for them. Profane Memento, just some more protection, really keep your commander locked in. Swift Foot Boots, even, the fucking boots, put the boots in the deck, dude. I'm telling you, the boots protect your commander. You can't complain about having these in the deck because they'll literally just make sure you stay alive. With that said, though, I am going to wrap it up. If you're interested in seeing the deck will be in the description down below. It's going to be at Moxfield, Wheezy MTG, you know the deal, baby. If you're new here and you haven't seen, I have a Discord. You're welcome to join the Discord. It is in my profile bio. We got rolls going. We're really starting to get that Discord moving. I do play test every Sunday. I think this upcoming Sunday, I'll be doing a live stream of actually me play testing the next deck. So if you're interested in seeing what I got cooking and seeing how it actually plays in, real time, that might be a great time for you to check it out. If you guys got any questions, throw in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you for the next one. Leave a like, comment, and sub for your brother here. Help your brother out with some engagement. Let's move on up, baby. I'll see you for the next one. Wheezy out.